All right, let's dive right in. Today's deep dive is all about crypto, specifically busting some crypto myths in 2025.
Sounds exciting.
It is, especially because you guys send us this source. Let me see, it's called The Biggest Crypto Myths in 2025. Don't fall for these.
Ooh, that's a spacey title. I'm intrigued.
Right. And it got us thinking, with all the ups and downs in the crypto world, it's easy to get lost in the noise.
Absolutely. Like 1 minute everyone's saying crypto is the future, the next it's crashing and burning. What are we supposed to believe?
Exactly. So that's what we're here to do today, to debunk those myths and try to make sense of it all. And luckily, we've got our expert here to guide us.
Well, I wouldn't say guide, more like let's figure this out
I
together.
love it. All right, so myth number one, and this is a biggie, is crypto is dead. I mean, we've seen some crashes, right? Governments are talking about regulations, and the market's been kind of shaky. Is crypto really on its last legs?
It's funny, this crypto is dead thing. It pops up every time there's a dip in the market. But markets are cyclical. Think about it. We've seen this in so many industries.
Yeah, like the dot-com bubble.
Mhm.
Everyone thought the internet was over.
Exactly. But look at us now. The point is, with crypto, we need to look beyond the hype cycles and focus on the underlying trends.
So what are some of those trends?
Well, for one, blockchain adoption is steadily increasing. We're seeing it being used in all sorts of industries. Supply chains, for example, are becoming more transparent thanks to blockchain.
Oh, that's interesting. So, like, you can track where your coffee beans came from farm to cup kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's not just supply chains. We're seeing blockchain being used for digital identity, voting systems, even in the art world with NFTs.
Right, right. NFTs are still a thing, huh?
Definitely a thing. And another trend to watch is institutional investment. Big players like BlackRock and Fidelity are still betting big on crypto. They're launching crypto ETFs, offering custody services for institutional investors.
So it's not just the little guy buying Bitcoin anymore.
Not at all. These institutions wouldn't be getting involved if they thought crypto was a dying breed. They're in it for the long haul.
That's reassuring, I guess.
Hmm.
But I have to admit, and maybe this is just me, but I sometimes feel like it's too late to invest. Like, I missed the boat. Bitcoin's already at some crazy high price. Ethereum's been on a tear.
I hear you. Our source actually calls this out as myth #2. It's too late to invest.
Yep, that's the one. And it makes sense, right? It feels like all the early adopters already made their fortunes.
It's understandable to feel that way, but let's break it down. First off, remember what we talked about Bitcoin was just the beginning. Think of it like the first email ever sent, groundbreaking at the time, but just a glimpse of what the internet would become.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And this is where the world of altcoins comes in.
Wait, hold on. What are altcoins again? I always get that confused.
Yeah. Sure. So altcoins are any cryptocurrencies that aren't Bitcoin. And there are thousands of them. Some are built on their own blockchains, like Ethereum or Solana, which we mentioned earlier. Others are tokens built on top of existing blockchains.
Okay, so there are different types of altcoins for different purposes.
Exactly. You have stable coins, which
Mm.
are pegged to fiat currencies like the US dollar. Then you have governance tokens, security tokens, utility tokens. It's a whole universe out there. And the key takeaway here is that many of these altcoins are still in their early stages, just like Bitcoin was a decade ago.
So there's still potential for growth.
Tons of potential. And it's not just about the price going up, it's about the technology and its real-world applications. Like, take DeFi, for example, decentralized finance. It's cutting out the middlemen in traditional finance banks, brokers, you name it.
Whoa, that's a big deal.
Huge. And there are projects working on everything from prediction markets to supply chain management to creating entirely new forms of online gaming. So the opportunity isn't gone, it's just evolving.
That's a good way to look at it. But let's be real. There have been some scams in the crypto space, and that makes a lot of people wary. Like, our source uses the phrase, all crypto is a scam.
Yeah, that's myth #3. And unfortunately, it's fueled by those high-profile cases we've seen. Rug pulls, Ponzi schemes, all that shady stuff.
Yeah, it gives the whole industry a black eye.
No doubt. But it's important to remember that these scams don't represent the entire crypto space. It's like saying all online businesses are scams because you got phished once.
Right. So how do you tell the legitimate projects from the scams?
Well, it all comes down to due diligence. You got to do your research. Look for projects with strong fundamentals, a clear purpose, a solid team, a well-defined roadmap. And don't just buy into the hype. Read the white paper, understand the technology, and see if it actually solves a real-world problem.
Our source actually points to Ethereum and Solana as examples of projects that are doing things right.
And they have a point. Ethereum, with its smart contracts and dApps, has basically created a platform for a whole new internet. And Solana is pushing the boundaries of speed and scalability, which is essential for mass adoption.
So it sounds like rather than asking if all crypto is a scam, the real question is, how do I find the gems amongst the rocks?
Exactly. It's about being informed and discerning. Don't let fear and skepticism blind you to the real innovation happening in this space.
Now, here's a question I've always wondered. Will we all be using Bitcoin to buy groceries anytime soon? Like, is crypto really going to replace traditional currency?
The crypto replacing traditional currencies soon. Myth. Our source tackled that one too. It's myth #4, I believe.
Yep, myth number 4. And honestly, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. Part of me thinks it's inevitable, but then I wonder, will governments really just give up control of their currencies?
It's a complex issue. I think it's unlikely that fiat currency will disappear entirely anytime soon. Governments have a vested interest in maintaining control over their monetary systems.
Makes sense.
But we are seeing a shift towards digital currencies, and this is where CBDCs come into play.
Oh yeah, those things. Central bank digital currencies. Our source mentioned those, but I'm still a little fuzzy on what they are.
So basically, CBDCs are like digital versions of fiat currencies. They're issued and controlled by central banks, just like the physical cash we use today.
So it's like a digital dollar or a digital euro.
Exactly. And countries like China are already piloting their own CBDCs. Many others are exploring the possibility.
So does that mean governments are embracing crypto?
It's more nuanced than that. I think they're recognizing the potential of digital currencies, but they want to maintain control. It's less about replacing traditional currencies and more about adapting to a changing financial landscape.
So maybe it's not crypto versus fiat, but crypto alongside fiat.
Yeah, I think that's a more likely scenario. We'll see coexistence and integration rather than an all-out takeover.
Okay, that makes sense. And it kind of leads us to the last myth our source debunks, which is regulations will kill crypto.
Yeah. Myth #5, the fear that government oversight will stifle innovation and make crypto unusable.
It's a valid concern, right? Like, crypto was born out of this idea of decentralization, freedom from government control.
Absolutely. But I think we need to reframe how we think about regulation. It's not about killing crypto. It's about protecting investors and fostering responsible innovation.
Our source actually argues that regulation is necessary for mainstream adoption.
And I agree. Think about it. For the average person to feel comfortable investing in crypto, they need to know that there are safeguards in place. Regulations can help bring more transparency to the market, prevent fraud, and ultimately build trust.
So regulations as a way to legitimize the industry.
Exactly. We're already seeing this happening. The US and the EU are working on comprehensive regulatory frameworks for crypto businesses. This will likely attract more institutional investors, which in turn could lead to more stability and wider adoption.
It sounds like the crypto landscape is becoming more, well, grown up.
It is. And that's not a bad thing. It's a sign of maturity. And it's creating this fascinating interplay between innovation and regulation, between decentralization and mainstream adoption.
Wow. This has been a really insightful deep dive. I feel like I have a much better grasp on these crypto myths now.
Me too. It's a reminder that the crypto space is constantly evolving and there's always something new to learn.
Totally. But if there's one thing I'm taking away from all this, it's that doing your own research is key.
Couldn't agree more. Look for those projects with real-world utility, strong teams, and solid fundamentals. And don't fall for the hype.
And with all these changes happening, the rise of CBDCs, regulations coming into play, it makes you wonder, what's the future hold for the relationship between crypto and governments?
Now, that's a question that'll keep us all on the edge of our seats.
It definitely will. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.